Hey guys, welcome back to Industry Sunday with your
Welcome back.
hosts. I'm Jake Levan.
And I'm Kennedy Novi. We're back. It's episode 11. We
Episode
made it.
11, yeah.
We survived episode 10.
We're still here. You can't get rid of us. Not quite yet.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe episode 12. I feel like every episode we're going to be like, maybe the next one's the last
Do we
one.
have to do like a farewell episode or we just leave people hanging?
No, you never do a farewell. That's the thing with podcasts. You just keep going.
What?
Yeah.
Like a podcast has never ended and somebody's like, okay, goodbye.
I don't think so.
And
That would be a good thing to research.
like
Maybe.
a series. They're like, okay, it's done. Bye.
No, they
Have a good life.
The good ones just keep going. They just rebrand and do other things.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, your laptop's not working. You need your password.
Yeah, I'll put it in later. I don't need it
Oh,
right
you don't
now.
need it right
do I?
now, no.
No.
Today it's just me and Jake. We don't have a guest. We thought it was time to bring it back to basics. We've had a lot of guests the last 5 episodes. Has been a guest every single time.
Yeah, pretty sure. At
1, 2,
least
3, 4. Yeah, 4.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Yeah, I mean, I think both of us just needed a little bit of a break. We also just kind of wanted to
It's okay not having a guest. I mean, we don't hate being around
and
each other.
reconnect with our listeners. And I feel like it's kind of exhausting for people to listen to us introduce new people every single week, and you have to learn everything about them, and you already know everything about us. So it's kind of like we can talk about
Scheduling.
more interesting things.
Also, scheduling is fairly difficult.
It is. You Chicago's serving staff and bartending and chef staff are hard to get a hold of.
Somewhere. There's always something going on.
Yeah, or they go out for lunch and they end up out the rest of the night, and it's hard. You're like, all right, I guess we'll reschedule.
Or somebody's sick.
Somebody's sick, yeah. Or they just don't feel like it on their day off. It makes sense.
Yep,
I've been there
Yep.
frequently.
You're like up to the day and they're like, actually, I don't want to talk to people. And I'm like, I completely understand that.
Yeah, we've had a couple of instances like that where we plan to record and we're like, actually, I want to lay in my bed and play on my Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I do not want to leave my bedroom.
Yeah.
How was your week?
It was good. What did I do this week? I don't even really remember. I guess I had Saturday night off for the first time in a long time. Or no, I didn't. Friday night off. I went out Friday. I worked Saturday. Yeah.
Where'd you go?
I had this event with my company. We showed a bunch of event planners around to all of our restaurants. It was really fun. Yeah, it was really cool. And I was in charge of talking to the bus driver. So Wayne.
What do you mean? Why were you talking to the bus driver?
Well, I was in charge of setting up the bus, and then they kind of took it from there and booked the bus. And then my phone number was attached to, I guess, one of the buses. We had a bus and a trolley.
Were you the liaison?
I guess he called me and he was like, "Hey, I have your number. When are you guys ready to come on the bus?" I was like, "Hi."
I was gonna say either that or you were just the kid that sat in the front of the bus.
No, I sat in the very back because by
yeah.
the time I got on the bus, all the seats were taken. So I had to go sit in the back.
I was in the back, getting my head hit on the ceiling over a bump.
Really? No, it was a really nice bus. It was
Oh no, I mean
very
back in the
fancy.
day.
Oh yeah, school bus days.
Yep, I rode it a couple times, and then a kid puked on my jacket. So I never took the bus again.
Oh my God.
Literally never since. Unless it's
reminds me
mandatory,
of,
you go to the quarry or something, you do
Yeah.
those stupid field trips. But unless it was mandatory, no, I would not take the bus after the kid puked up oatmeal on
my God.
I had this cute yellow rain jacket ruined.
Speaking of kids puking, when I was in middle school, I would say once or twice a week, I wouldn't sit with my friends. I would go sit at the table with the kids from the special education classrooms.
Oh.
Yeah, I liked them. It was before the time of Big Brother, Big Sister. Well, not Big Brother, Big Sister. What is it called? Best Buddies or something?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's a program where athletes and stuff like that hang out with the special education students.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. It just helps them be social and kind of learn new people, so they don't just hang out with the same people every day. But I would just go on my own and sit with them. And there was one time that this kid, I won't say his full name, but his last name was Butts, which is he used to get teased for it. And
so unfortunate. He's already.
I know. He was so sweet though. I
Don't
loved
pick
him.
on the disabled kids. It's not.
It's very
nice.
Yes, very wrong. But no, he was one of my good friends. I liked him. He was really cool. And I sat in front of him one day, and in the middle of lunch, he sneezed and he didn't cover his nose or look away or anything. Sneezed all over me and my lunch. I had just sat down. I'm talking huge boogers all over my food, all over my face, my hair. I had to go take a shower in the locker room and I had to like give my lunch back. And then the lunch lady saw the state I was in and she gave me a new lunch when I came back.
Yeah.
But oh my God, it was awful.
I'm just trying to be nice.
I know. I was like, and it was so traumatizing too, because you're in middle school. So everyone sees that happen. They see you get up and you're crying and like, cause it was just gross. And you're like, why does this happen to me? Like, I'm doing a good thing. And like, whatever. Anyways, I went back and sat in front of him again the next week. I think I sat off to the side a little bit.
Never came back.
I kind of avoided sitting directly in front of him again.
Yeah,
But
a little bit
I don't trust
farther
you anymore, Mr. Butts.
Like I need you at like 2 arms lengths away.
Yeah. No, but
Wow.
kids are gross. No matter what.
How did we end up getting on this topic?
I don't know. We were talking about our week.
Yeah.
But that was more exciting than what I did this week. So
Did you do anything else?
no.
That's
No.
it? Nothing?
Nope. Just a lot of sitting at home
Wow.
by myself. What'd you do this week? You went to a wedding. You were in Texas.
I did. So I had a wedding in Dallas, like Fort Worth, DFW.
Yeah.
And just a short trip over the weekend. Ended up actually going with my friend Grace. So I picked her up. Flight's at 2:30. I pick her up at 12:30. I'm like, all right, it takes 45 minutes to go to O'Hare. We got to park because it's actually cheaper for me to drive my car to O'Hare and park it for a weekend than it is for me to do Uber there and Uber back.
Oh, well, yeah. 2 Ubers could be like $200.
Yeah.
If you're not careful.
Parking was like $100 for the weekend. So I'm like, I'd rather do that. And plus, it's my own car. I'm in my own space. Like, the last thing you want to do is get in a car on your way back.
Like a smelly Uber.
So
Windows down on the freeway. It's negative 20 degrees.
trash. And and it's just bumpy and I'm like sick. And
You're
I'm
in the
like,
back seat too.
I don't want to do this. So I just drove. We get like 3/4 of the way to O'Hare, and Grace goes, "Why are we going to O'Hare?" I was like, "Because I always fly out of O'Hare. That's how I booked the ticket." She's like, "No. I'm pretty sure the screenshot you sent me."
Thank God you sent her a screenshot.
Yeah, she's like, "I'm pretty sure it said MDW, like Midway," and I was like, "Oh shit." So literally last second, I take the last exit to go to Midway. So we get all the way to Midway, park the car, we like run up to security. We flew with Frontier, not my proudest moment, but otherwise tickets were like $1,000 a person. They were
That's insane to go to Dallas.
I had to do a name
Did you
change
book
on
it super late?
Yeah, I probably could have booked it sooner. And then I had to do a name change on it because the other person I was going with couldn't come. So that was $350 to get a name change.
Ew.
It was ridiculous. But I had one checked bag because we were just going to share a checked bag. And then Grace was coming. So I got another checked bag. So
because she has a lot of stuff.
It's Grace. I'm like, we're going to need a checked bag.
Yeah.
And we get to check our bags. We had 2 minutes left.
Dude, I've missed that before. One time I missed the check bag time.
No, it gets worse.
And I had to go buy another, like a carry-on. It's awful.
Well, we had carry-on sizes. So I was like, worst comes to worst, hopefully there's space on the plane.
Yeah. Or they can do a gate check or something.
Yeah. So then we do it. I get our passes. We get down to, we both have TSA pre-check. So we were like, thank God, because it was like 20 minutes or 15 minutes till boarding ended.
Yeah.
Like they were already boarding when we got there. And I get up to security and I'm like checking our passes or whatever, their tickets. Hers doesn't have it on it.
Oh, no.
So but like nobody had noticed. So we like made it to the line. We made it all the way up to the check-in. I got through and then she went to the other lady's line because this lady I was like talking to, like trying to like, she was like, you don't have TSA pre-check. You're standard. You can't come through here. And then she's like, also your birthday is wrong. I put her birthday in wrong. I put it, I don't know.
Did you just not change it?
Yeah, I changed like the month and the day, but I didn't change the year. So
oh my God.
So we had to run up to this lady again. And this lady, bless her heart, was so fucking slow.
Yeah.
Like one finger on the keyboard, like tap, tap. I was like, dude, this is a simulation. This is a movie. Like, this is not real. And I was like, hey, yeah, we screwed up. We need to add our TSA project. And then I need to change Grace's birthday. And the only reason she did it was because her and Grace had the same birthday. So she's like, I only did this because you have the same birthday. I was like, you're fucking kidding me, right?
Yeah.
So then we run down, we get back through security again. Like one of the last people on the plane, get on right away, fly out. And then we had a blast. We had a blast. I've been sober for a couple weeks, so it was interesting to see like how that was going to go on my end. Because I was like, well, what the fuck am I going to do? It was a blast. We were out until like 4 a.m. Friday night. I'm having all my little energy drinks, just having a blast. Meet a bunch of random people. Actually, no, that's a lie. Dallas is so unfriendly.
Yeah. No, you told me about this.
People would not talk to us. Like, you know, like you can go out places and you like throw a random compliment and you get a casual conversation and make friends with people. And we were just trying to make friends because we didn't know anybody. I think one person spoke to us the whole time. And it was kind of depressing on that aspect. But yeah, we went out till 4 a.m. Sober Sally over here. Sober Jake. And that's the dryer going.
You think so?
Yeah, that's exactly what that noise is.
I'm over here like, what is that noise?
It's the dryer. So we go out, whatever, and then the next day, like we get brunch, and then we get ready. We went to the wedding with people that I haven't seen in a long time. They're like my second family, thank God. Mm-hmm. And then they're the best people ever. It was a small wedding out in the country.
It looks so cute.
It was adorable. And then we hung out there until like 10 o'clock. We decided like, let's give it a second shot and try and make friends and like mingle and just be social in Dallas, you know, same fucking thing. Bullshit. We were driving home. I can do that now. I'm sober. I don't have to. I'm like, don't worry, you have a permanent sober cap. So we're driving home, and we were sitting in silence, no music playing. Like I'm driving slow. Like we were so upset. we were like, this is the most humbling experience ever because like I walked up to her, like, oh my God, I love your earrings. Like they're such a vibe. Like that's so nice. And they would literally say thank you and then turn away from me. I was like, okay. I'm like, do I have something on my face? Like,
Well, I wonder if that's what like people from out of town experience in Chicago. But I feel like Chicago's more friendly.
It's the Midwest. People are friendly. But I was like expecting some kind of Southern hospitality. We did not get that. Sunday,
maybe they just know you're not from there, and they're like, no.
We were also very dressed up.
Yeah.
Like way above everybody else. But even then, we stopped at the Ritz-Carlton and like hung out there, and like everybody was really dressed up there. I mean, maybe it was because I was sober. I don't know. Maybe that's hard to approach. Or just
hotel bars are a great place to meet.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We had like one person talk to us, and then they left. I was like, okay, bye. But no. Then Sunday we went out to the Stockyards in Fort Worth because I initially wanted to go out in Fort Worth on Saturday, and because I was like, well, we weren't really lucky on meeting people, making friends on Friday in Dallas. So I was like, let's change it up, but we didn't. And then Fort Worth, we went. Checked out the Stockyards. It's so adorable. Everybody's just walking around in their cowboy boots. There's like bulls out in the street. I'd never seen like a cow with horns. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, that's fun. Grace got a picture on it, and then like there's cowboys everywhere. I was like, this is way more what I was wanting to see.
Yeah.
And then we stopped and we had lunch somewhere before we flew out. Just at this like little barbecue place on the strip. It was cute, and we just sat at the bar and I was like, hey, can I ask you a question? And she's like, yeah, of course. Talking to the bartender. And I was like, why are people so fucking rude in Dallas? It seems like people are way more friendly on this side. She was like, oh yeah, no. She's like, people in Dallas are so much more fast paced. They're pretentious. They're about their money, but they're cheap. I was like, I hear that. I was like, I want somebody to just be like, hey, like we make friends and whatever. Grace gets like a free drink out of it or something. But they were like, she was like, no. She's like, I live in Fort Worth. I work here because of that. And she's like, one of my best friends lives over in Dallas and has always been trying to get me to move over there just to be a little bit closer. And she's like, I won't do it because of that. So she's like, yeah, no, Fort Worth, like, because we were like kind of bummed. I was like, the first trip that I've like been on, I've been a lot of places where I was like, is there something wrong with me?
Yeah.
But she was like, nope, that's just how it is. She's like, you know, if you ever come back, do it in Fort Worth. You'll have a much better time. You'll be able to make friends and like hang out. Because me and Grace were like, are we like bitchy? Like, what is it? So
it's the difference between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I did not realize and they're like 30 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
So I was like, great. I was like, all right, well, so me and Grace may be doing an April trip to give Fort Worth another chance.
I feel like just go somewhere else. What about like Charleston, South Carolina?
I've been there. It's trash.
Oh, don't say that. What if we have
Charleston.
listeners from Charleston?
It just wasn't fun.
I want.
It
to
wasn't
go
that it was bad. It's beautiful. There's a lot of history. There are
or
really.
Charlotte.
I'm like saying.
Or I really want to go back to New Orleans.
I've been
like there's a lot of southern cities that I feel like. Or Austin, any other city in Texas.
I've been to all of them besides Dallas.
I love Austin and San Antonio.
I do.
I haven't really experienced Dallas. I've only been there twice, and it was to visit the JFK Assassination Museum.
But we're like,
dun.
We'll check it out again. You know.
Yeah. Well, what I didn't expect about Dallas is that the JFK Museum is literally just like. The FBI did it.
Really?
Yeah, which is really bizarre because you'd think it'd be like a federally sanctioned museum.
I won't be going to that. I'm not.
I can't believe you guys didn't go.
I'm not going to a museum.
You don't have to go to the museum. You can see the X on the street where it happened. You can see the grassy knoll.
That's okay. I'm fine not going to that. That's like more of it's more your speed. But I just like wanted to go like see like the city, and it was fun. But doesn't really compare to Chicago's skyline. But yeah, I mean, that was it. So then got back Sunday night, hung out with you for a little bit. And then, yeah, also I've lost 17 pounds in 2 weeks from not drinking. Maybe haven't been eating as much either. Been a little bit stressed, but skinny legend. Maybe I can finally fit into some clothes I haven't been able to fit into.
That'd be nice. I love that when you like lose some weight for a second and then you gain it back.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna gain it all back. I'm assuming it's just all water weight at this point, but like maybe it's not. Maybe
Yeah. Well, you're cutting down on sugar, but then you've been craving sugar in other ways, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm not to that extent, I don't think. But also, I mean, I feel like it's just also getting to springtime. Like your body's like, I don't need to store all this anymore. Like you're gonna survive the winter, I guess. So
that could be it. That really could be it.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
But yeah, I mean that was my weekend, and
hell yeah.
I think that's like reinvigorated my traveling. So I'll probably just travel out once a month from now on, and just a quick little weekend getaway and go see some places. You know, whatever cheap flights are cheapest. You know, I might end up in like Cincinnati or something, or who knows.
Let's go to Cleveland.
Yeah, like Cleveland. Just to get out more. I think that's more important. But yeah, I mean, great weekend away, and I realized I have actually almost like a better time going out sober.
Yeah.
Except people annoy me.
You remember everything.
People annoy me as much, yeah. Yeah. And
but then
if
you're out at a bar, you can just walk away.
I know, I'm like, don't touch me.
Yeah, bye.
But yeah.
That'll be good. You're not going to hang out with people you don't like anymore. Except for me.
Also true. Yeah, I've noticed that. Like, if I don't want to be around somebody, I'm not like...
You can just go home.
I'm like, I'm not going to drink until I want to, like, can withstand them. Like,
exactly.
I can, like, tolerate somebody. I'm like, no, you got to go. I'm done.
It's time to leave.
Have a good night. Bye. Just the rude. No, I'm not that rude.
God. Okay, well, I guess that we can get started with our episode.
Yeah.
We have an interesting one today. Jake and I both picked out stories about the industry that we thought were really interesting. So we're going to take turns describing them to you.
I'm just reading mine.
Yeah, I made like a whole thing for mine.
That's typical.
Yeah.
the difference between the both of us is there it is.
Yeah. No. Stop.
You're a planner. I'm not.
Yeah. No,
I feel like that's how you'd be on a trip too.
No, on trips I'm actually not. I mean, I have things that I want to see and I'm going to see them, but like I don't really strategically plot out like what time or like.
See, like if we go on a trip.
I don't pre-buy any tickets for anything because I know plans change.
Yep.
The one time I have done it, I went to New York and I bought tickets to Chicago the musical, and we almost didn't make it. And like Broadway shows like don't let you in.
And they're expensive.
Afterwards. Yeah, it was like 150. And I thought it would be more of like a production, like the movie, and it's just people dancing and singing on stage, which is still really, really good. But
it just was underwhelming.
I was like, where are the Taylor Swift fireworks? Where are the
That's enough.
Where are
That's
the set
enough.
changes? It's just some
Say they don't
bleachers.
change anything?
No, it's like mostly based off of like the Fosse dance and like the story. They do a few things, like they pop out of random places, but like
Ooh, jump scare.
the Roxy climbs a ladder for one song, but it comes out of the curtain, so it's like I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if I went on a trip with you, I'd be like, you have this time slot to see the things that you want to see. Whatever museum you want to see where somebody got shot, I'd be like, all right.
No, the only person I care about that got shot was JFK. Although I would like to go see like the Lincoln. Any assassinated president. There's only two.
What is your fascination with assassinations?
Presidents. It's not assassinations.
Oh.
It's just presidents in general.
But you literally just said I'd like to see where every president got assassinated.
There's only two, Lincoln and Kennedy. Those
I
are my
didn't
two
know
favorites. It's just, I don't know. I went to
I was like, how many have
a
died?
Truman Museum once, and I was like, this is so boring. I'm never going back to an alive president.
What does he do?
I don't know. He built a little mini White House in Key West, so I went and saw it when I was there.
In Key West?
It wasn't really interesting
You're like,
at all.
wow.
Yeah, apparently there's a video you can watch that's like the entire tour, and the tour was like expensive, so we didn't do the tour.
Of the video? It costs that much for a video?
No, there's a video in the free part of the museum. I went in the free part. I didn't pay for the rest of it. But yeah. All right, let's get into the episode.
All right.
We've been talking for 20 minutes. It's time.
Already?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's why I was checking the times.
It's my medication.
Yeah.
It's my Adderall.
Okay. So our main topic today, I heard this story on a podcast called Drinking the Kool-Aid, actually. So I'll give them a little shout out. And I was so shocked when I heard it because I've never heard this before in my life. I'm sure all of you have never heard it before either, because I could not believe what I was hearing. And when I was doing research on it, like you can't really find any articles or stories about it anywhere. Like there's no shows. Wow. Yeah. It's like the third or fourth article down the line of options to choose from to read. So it's very difficult to find information, but I found all of it. I even found like Chicago Tribune articles. I found like police records, court testimonies, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I have this
an assassination?
No. Well, kind of, I guess.
Oh.
So are you ready to listen to the legend of Mickey Finn?
Wait, scroll down. Let me see how long this is.
No.
My attention span is short.
No.
I got ADHD, sis.
Nope. The legend of Mickey Finn.
Here we go.
So, my sources are an article from Steam It by Charlie Hirsch called "Revenge is a dish best served in Chicago," and another article from allthat'sinteresting.com called "Mickey Finn, the Chicago bartender who infamously drugged and robbed patrons with laced drinks" by Natasha Ishak. Yes.
Is Mickey a guy or a girl?
Mickey's a guy.
You never know.
And he got his name from like a novel about like a scam artist, which is really funny. His nickname. I don't know what his real name is.
Oh, so that's not his real name.
I think it's based off of his real. I bet his real name is like Martin or Mike or something.
Bob.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, story time.
So this story, well, Mickey Finn is a scam artist. He inspired another scam in Chicago restaurants between the workers where they rebelled against stingy tippers by poisoning their food. And later, his name...
Jesus Christ.
I know. So it's crazy.
Are they okay? Are they dead?
Yes.
Oh.
Let me tell the story.
Okay,
I explained that.
I'm sorry. I didn't jump in the gun.
It would later be immortalized. His name would later be immortalized with the nefarious phrase, slip a Mickey.
Not a Mickey.
I know. The setting is early 1900s Chicago. Many people know this story, but it was hard to find information on it. Obviously, I already said that. So Mickey Finn was a pickpocket that turned into a bar owner somehow. He was scamming gullible and drunk customers by spiking their drinks. Is kind of like the gist of what he did. He basically did this by using an illegal drug that he got from a witch doctor. We name him later on in the story.
Wow.
His infamy also inspired the name of another drug called the Mickey Finn that inspired waiters in Chicago 15 years later to use food poisoning to get revenge. Crazy. His seedy origins. Mickey Finn was born in 1871. His parents were Irish immigrants, and he grew up on the streets of Indiana.
1871, is that before or after the fire?
It's before the fire.
Jeez.
That's the first city, not the second city. Eventually, he made his way to Chicago, obviously, and started working as a barkeep. He made his mark at the 1893 World Columbian Exposition. I wrote down sex positions.
Okay, well, we know where your mind is at.
How did I do that? Anyways, afterwards, he got a job at a place called Whiskey Row, where he actually got in trouble for hitting a customer with like a wooden mallet that bartenders used to use to whack loose keg beers. Like instead of pumping the keg, they would like whack it with a mallet.
Honestly, that's a vibe.
They're like, bitch.
I pretend to be a barrel.
Yeah, I know. But he hit him so hard that his eye popped out. So
like out of his head?
Yeah, the guy that he hit with the mallet. Yeah.
Oh my God. Is it?
It was just a lawless land back then, I guess. I don't know.
And he still had his job? I can't even yell at him.
No, he got fired.
Oh.
He got fired, yes. Jesus Christ. So that led him to basically continuing to pickpocket. He eventually saved up enough money, got married to a woman named Rose.
Damn, you can pickpocket that much money?
I suppose. And like from his money from tips. I don't know. He was like kind of a popular guy. He eventually opened his own saloon that he called the Lone Star Cafe in Palm Garden. It was in what used to be called the Levee District. It's kind of like now it's close to where Chinatown is.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was known for like having a bunch of like a long street of like dive bars, like gambling dens, like kind of seedy places.
Pilsen.
Yeah, but Pilsen's further north. Oh. Pilsen's actually nice now.
I like Pilsen.
But it's right next to what is now Chinatown. It was only called the Levee District until like 1901, so it wasn't really called that anymore by the time he opened his saloon, but whatever. His saloon was called it was basically referred to as a black and tan bar, which back in those days, it's an old term that was used to describe a bar that had all races intermingling. So it was like black people, white people, immigrants from all different.
Which back then that was.
Yeah, that's very progressive for 1901.
Yeah, huge.
Or 1903, whenever he opened this place. But this wasn't due to a progressive ethic at the time, which you might assume.
Yeah, well,
it was actually just
title gave that away.
Yeah, it was illegal for them to be having different races in the same bar, but it was like a practice that a lot of seedy bars and bars in like non-wealthy areas would use to make more money because they could have more people in their bar. The bar only served beer and whiskey, and it was fully staffed by women he called house girls. That were managed by his wife. His wife was in charge of the house girls, and they were basically prostitutes too on the side. Yeah, it's crazy.
It goes from like being your like little neighborhood hole in the wall to very dark.
Yep. But these girls are mentioned again later on in the story, and their names were Isabel the Dummy and Mary Goldtooth. The Dummy and Goldtooth. I'm taking Mary. I'm Goldtooth.
Oh, no.
I did chip my tooth last week, so I guess I am Goldtooth.
Now I can see it. I'm kidding. It was a joke. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Is it worse? It is worse.
Yeah. It's fine. Like, I have a chip somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure more came off of it.
I think it's just the light reflecting on it.
And more probably came off of it. Anyways, back to the story. Finn and his wife, Rose, wanted to make more money. So they created a plan to steal, but together. So his pickpocketing turned into an industry. He basically came up with this idea where he would create a cocktail that he would call the Mickey Finn. He put it on signs outside of the saloon, and he promoted it to all the guests. And it was actually a drink that was more expensive than every other drink there. And that was his tactic to target guests who had enough money worthy of him to like rob and steal all their cash. So he knew that if someone could afford to buy this drink, they'd have a lot of money on them because they would have enough money to buy like several of them.
Wow.
It's assumed. Anyways, the drink was a mix of alcohol, Tabasco, snuff-soaked water, and a white liquid that could knock an adult man out in seconds. The milk white... No. The milk white substance, allegedly they think it was chloral hydrate. They have a lot of terms in here that I've never heard before because I think they're just outdated.
What's chloral hydrate?
See, I don't know. But it's a sedative.
Like Clorox. It's
basically a sedative that was produced first in the 1830s, and it was sold to Mickey Finn by a voodoo doctor named Dr. Hall. After the first customer passed out from the drink, Mickey's bar team came up with a plan to leave him there asleep at his seat until the bar was empty. Then they would drag him into a back room that they called the operating room, and they would be stripped of their possessions, and the bar team and Mickey would split the loot. But they would do it in a way that was similar to like a pool system nowadays. There's levels to how much you get.
They're on a tip pool.
Yeah, it's like I wonder if that's where that originated
You're like,
from.
well, you're the newest guy
It's
here.
like the owner gets 50%, the rest of us split like 10, 15, 20, whatever.
You have no seniority, sorry.
Yeah, no. Then after they would rob him, they would throw him into the street, and the guests would never realize what happened because these people would wake up the next day with nothing and be like, "Oh shit,
I got robbed in the street.
I blacked out last night and I lost all my belongings."
I mean, does that sound familiar?
Yes,
it does for me. That's for sure.
Not for me. I've got my phone stolen before.
I can't find my phone. Like, where's my car key?
My God.
I'm like, like, because I've learned to detach them now because my house key I would just bring it with, and I lost them one time.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
All right. It was almost foolproof. Finn even bribed local authorities to keep himself out of trouble. This was all until his loyal house girls, Goldtooth and Dummy, ratted him out.
Wait, the other one's Dummy?
Yes. Goldtooth and you're Dummy. That's the one you picked.
Yeah. No, I have to. Okay.
Whatever. You're Dummy. You're so stupid. No. They ratted him out. I wonder, the one thing that none of these articles mentioned is why. Like, what was their intention? Were they mad because their tip pool wasn't high enough? Were they mad because all the men that they would normally, like, be prostitutes for, like, were passed out at the bar to be robbed? Like,
took all their business.
Exactly. So maybe that's what happened. They're like, you know what? We had a good thing going until they started drugging all the rich guys. Yeah. God. So they confessed to Chicago police about what was happening. Finn's bar was shut down and he was arrested for good. Here's a quote from the court testimony about the operation from one of the girls. I worked for Finn a year and a half, and in that time I saw a dozen men given dope by Finn and his bartender. That work was done in 2 little rooms adjoining the Palm Garden in the back of the saloon. Essentially, Finn was put in jail. His saloon was out of business. And that was the last Chicago ever heard of Mickey Finn because he moved out of the city after he lost his bar.
Yeah, but did he get to keep all the money?
I assume no. I assume he avoided more jail time because he probably paid off something.
This guy's a hustler, but like
yeah, but I don't. There's no story about what happened to him after he left Chicago. He just disappeared. Vanished. He probably changed his name. He probably did it somewhere else.
He's going to be on.
Somebody check on Kansas City. Someone check on Minneapolis. Like, did this happen there?
It's a 60-minute story right now.
Yeah. That's it about Mickey Finn. But the most important part that brings us to my next story about related to this is that the waiters' strike of 1903 happened the same year he was arrested. Waiters this year were striking because there was like some sort of issue going on where wealthy people thought that they shouldn't have to tip because they thought that that's still going on, which is hilarious. Because they thought that restaurants should be paying their servers adequate wages, so they don't need to have tips. Kind of like what Europe does. No, like, I mean, I don't want to give anyone ideas. Nobody do this. I strongly recommend against this.
I mean, if you've ever eaten overseas, you will know the service will not be the same.
No.
But also, I would not want.
But they let you sit in your chair long enough or longer because they're not trying to turn their tables.
Because they're going to be, they don't give a shit. They'll come around once every hour.
Yeah. That's almost like a tactic to like get more business too. Is like if your servers are relying on tips, they have to like keep it moving.
I like the tips.
I do too. Anyways, this in the summer of 1918, this is 15 years after Mickey Finn escaped Chicago. Chicago police launched a major raid at the offices of the Chicago's Waiters Union. They also raided the Bartenders Union and the Chefs Union. And they found the same thing in all 3 places.
Wait, what?
Yes, listen, it gets steamier. More than 100 servers working in the city's restaurant industry were arrested on suspicion of food poisoning. And normally when you think of food poisoning, it's like salmonella or like, something wasn't cooked right or like, I don't know, E. coli. This is also considered food poisoning because people were being deliberately poisoned with food. So the raid was unlike anything the city had ever seen before or has seen since.
Really?
Yes. And no one knows about it. It's crazy. It was sparked by the swanky Hotel Sherman. This is actually a hotel that was lost in the Great Chicago Fire because we're still before the Great Chicago Fire at this point.
Wow.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense. When was the Chicago?
I don't know.
When was the fire?
I don't know. You want me to look it up?
Maybe there's two Hotel Shermans. I'm pretty sure the Chicago fire was in the 1800s.
Maybe they rebuilt it.
They might have, but now where the Hotel Sherman used to be, now it's the Chicago City Hall, like the court district is where it is now.
I don't know where that is.
It's like it's in the Loop. It's kind of by the financial district.
Okay.
Yeah. Or no, it's in River North. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know the city of Chicago that well. So basically, this hotel hired an undercover detective to investigate the alarming number of food poisoning reports that they were getting from their wealthy patrons. So it was happening in their hotel, and the owners were like, "What the fuck? Somebody tell me why this is happening. Like, there's no reason that this many people would be getting food poisoning. Like, we're following all the health codes." So what happened next? This detective dined in the restaurant and oh no, he didn't dine in the restaurant, my bad. He posed as a server applying for the job, interviewed, did his like mock service, everything. And then he noticed one server pinching like a little white powder from it looked like a salt packet into someone's drink. And he's like, "What is that?" And they basically whispered to him, they're like, "Hey, go to the Chicago Servers Union. They'll fix you up good. Like, you need this."
I'll fix you up good.
Yeah. So this detective basically went to the Servers Union and asked for it and found out that the city's waiters had been purchasing 20-cent packets of an illegal powdery substance. If this substance was ingested, it would cause violent gastronomical problems. I'm going to mention this again later, but I'm talking like violent throwing up, body shakes, everything. Like uncontrollably. Yeah. They later found out that the drug was tartar emetic. It's a concoction that was produced by a pseudo pharmacist named W. Stewart Wood with assistance from his wife. He named the drug Mickey Finn powder from the guy 15 years before. That's where he got his inspiration from, and sold it to the Chicago Servers Union and basically got a percentage also of what they sold to servers and bartenders and chefs. Yeah. But the drug bust explained the cause for all the food poisoning reports. They were getting thousands and thousands in like a matter of a few weeks. And they're like, "What is going on? Like what?" Like they didn't know if it was like rats or if it was like some sort of weird disease or like something that was wrong with like some sort of shipment of food that came in from somewhere. Crazy stuff. And customers at restaurants, clubs, and hotels all over the city. So it wasn't just like a few restaurants. It was like hundreds of restaurants and hundreds of servers. It's
There's
insane.
just puke all over the sidewalk.
What's really funny is that nowadays Chicago is known across the world for its restaurant industry, and this happened 100 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the bags and the powder. There was a message on the bags that was written by the pharmacist with basically like rules of usage. It said, "One of these powders may be given in beer, tea, coffee, soup, or any other liquid. Never give more than one powder a day. These powders are to be used by adults only." So I think that they could only drug like one guest a day per server.
You're like, you better make it count.
Yeah. Like pick your worst guest.
You're doing your checkout and you're like, "Fuck, I thought I was going to have a worse guest, but nope, that guest that left earlier in the day was the one."
The worst one, yeah. Now I have to drug like the nicer one.
Yeah, I'm like, this one's not even that bad, but here
I would just save it for the next day.
Double it and give it to somebody else.
Yes, but no, among those arrested in the raid were two men who worked the union headquarters bar, so the servers union, along with the president of the subsidiary bartenders union, officials from the waiters and cooks unions, and of course, the pharmacist Wood, who was the mastermind behind the drug. The customers that had fallen ill during the food poisoning epidemic were mostly prominent Chicagoans who hadn't tipped their waiters generously enough. Wow. Crazy. Yep. There's actually like kind of a history of drugs, poison, and revenge in Chicago restaurants and bars that happened like within like a 20-year span. So more happened. Even before this Chicago waiters bust happened, waiters had been plotting against stingy tippers with food poisoning for like years. One mass food poisoning that happened during a really swanky event, it was at the University Club. Dozens of the city's elite were there, including like the mayor and the governor, and they all got gravely ill 2 years prior in 1916. So that was 2 years before the bust happened. More than 100 guests were at the soiree held in honor of Chicago's new archbishop. His name was George Mundelein. They all became sick after consuming chicken soup. It turned out that the food had been spiked with arsenic.
Holy shit.
That could kill you.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's like not like.
That's not like throwing up and,
I'm not just trying to get you a little bit
I don't want you
sick.
to sit in the toilet. You're trying to kill people. Apparently this guy named Nestor Don Doglio, he was an Italian anarchist. He advocated for class revolt and had only meant to poison the Archbishop Mundelein. Ended up accidentally poisoning the entire event.
Wait, what happened?
Hundreds of people. He had this Italian guy had disguised himself as an assistant chef, slipped in unnoticed, just kind of started working like he knew what he was doing. Didn't really understand the concept of how much arsenic to put in. And he put it all in the chicken soup and everyone ate it, obviously. And he wanted to get revenge on the influential crowd of Chicago as well. He was like very much like, I don't like the class system. I'm going to murder all of you. After both of these incidents of food poisoning, Chicago's food industry what?
Did they die?
One person died.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Out of all three of these scenarios, one guy died. These are like thousands of people at this point. One guy died. He was actually a former police operator by the name of Joseph Mimoser.
That's quite the name.
Mimoser. I like that.
Mimosa.
R.I.P. Joseph Mimoser. I'm just glad no one else died. Anyways, these incidents like put Chicago's food industry into like extreme chaos. Like everyone was afraid that they were going to get poisoned. Like no one was going out to eat. And if they were, it was usually rich people that could afford to hire food testers, whatever. Kind of like
that would be quite
royalty.
the job.
Yeah, but some people were saying like in the comments, they're like, okay, instead of tipping the servers more, you're hiring someone to try your food before you eat it. Like, I mean, to begin with, that's not a really good way to get people to tip you more. By not murdering them, but poisoning them, but whatever.
I'd be like, hey, like, look, don't poison me. I'm going to tip you nice, okay?
Yeah. Well, the funniest part is that this bust happened right before St. Patrick's Day festivities. Waiters across Chicago were still striking and still poisoning stingy restaurant tippers even after the bust happened. And like, I don't know. It's just crazy that this happened. But basically, like, cases of intentional poisoning, a lot of people have said, are usually like small cases, like one or two people. Usually you can taste it or smell it, tips you off that something's wrong. But like this powder was so efficient that like no one noticed. They're like, oh, whatever. But they said that basically using our food systems to poison is not just the most efficient, effective way to get at people. It's literally like the only way that you could poison that many people at one time.
Yeah.
And not get caught for that long.
Is that the story?
Yeah. I was going to end it with the one person dying, but
I'm sorry.
I have one more note. Next time you're out drinking, be mindful of your drink and make sure nobody slips you a Mickey.
I got a couple things on that. I mean, you would have given it to me when I was drinking, and I'd just be like,
me?
I'd be ready to party. No, me.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be like, woo! I was like, that was a strong drink.
No, I said it could knock out a large adult.
Yeah.
You would just be like,
no, I wouldn't.
you'd be passed out.
I'd be like leaning up to me, but like, damn, I got to lean on this pillar.
You might be the only one.
Yeah, my tolerance is like probably, I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah.
She got tolerance. I feel like I've been drugged a couple times here and there.
Yeah.
The fact that also like, you know, like people are always like, oh, you spit in my food or you poisoned this. I always like, where the fuck did you ever think
I don't know what
that?
you've been doing, but no one has ever accused me of
I'm
that.
like, no, well, you know, like, it's a joke because like they be like, oh,
Yeah.
I fucked up. Like then I remake it and I bring it back. Be like, oh, the kitchen probably like spit in it. Like they're like, huh. And I'm like, why do you guys say that? Like, it's not that big of a deal. And now I'm seeing that like people were like almost dying from like something in the 1900s. So it all stems from somewhere.
No, a coffee shop I worked at in high school, there was one worker there her friend came in or something and she was like, yeah, be careful, I might spit in your drink. And like another guest overheard it and the boss overheard it.
Oh God.
She fired immediately.
Really?
Yeah. Even though she was just saying it to her friend. So ever since then, I think I was like 16 years old. I was like, I will never, things just stick with me.
You know,
one thing, and I'm like, I will never do that.
The gastrointestinal thing, like with like making people sick, that still exists.
What do you mean?
I'm not gonna name someone. They're older.
Like on purpose?
Yeah. And like
What?
if you're drinking beer and you have like Visine eye drops, you can put like a drop or two in
Oh,
a beer,
that's
and you will literally want to die in the bathroom.
Damn, that's I've heard that is a tactic for like getting away from a bad date. It has to be really bad if you're gonna do that.
Bad, like you're in the bathroom for like hours probably.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I knew somebody that did it, but I mean, this was a long time ago. I guess I did, like in the 80s. Yeah. So
maybe Vizine's built different now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they've changed the chemical compound, but yeah, like they took that person out for like a long time. They were like abusing their kid, so it was like something that was worth it, I guess.
Oh, that's so worth it.
Like she's like, like let me put a couple drops of this in.
I believe in our justice system, but I also believe in
do a citizen's arrest,
vigilantism, whatever.
Right. So yeah. Also, like, what a crazy story. Like, how did, like, I've never heard this before. Yeah,
it's great. Well, I mean, it's funny because if Mickey Finn never existed, like, they probably would have never decided to do this. Like, it's just because one crazy pharmacist was obsessed with the arrest of Mickey Finn and was like, that's a great idea to make money. So he decides to make his own drug to sell to people to, like, basically give to people that aren't tipping them, and he was the one making bank off of it. These servers weren't making more money off of it. They were just getting in trouble.
Like, also, I'm wondering, like, because this is making them so sick, like, are they getting sick at the restaurant or after they leave? Like, if I would
think after you leave, because like it's food poisoning, and I feel like a substance like that, that's you have to digest it.
Like, you imagine just people just puking all over the restaurant. I wouldn't want to clean that up.
No, I'm pretty sure like something like that. It's like put in a liquid like that. You have to like digest it before it hits you. Like similar to other food poisoning where it doesn't hit you until like 6 hours later. I want
to know how they knew they were bad tippers. Like, were they regulars or?
I think it was like at the end. Well, yeah. How would you put it in their drink?
Like how are you going to put it in their drink?
I don't know. Maybe if they just looked like they were rich, you're like, they're not going to tip me. I'm going to drug them.
Like, you got to tip me before I start serving you, actually.
Yeah. I think it was just also a part of the waiters' strike. It was a part of the server strike. So it was like one way that they were striking against the city.
It was just feeding everybody food.
Because I think at this point they had been, the waiters' strike started in 1903 and this happened in 1918. So 15 years later. So I'm assuming they had 15 years of not being tipped appropriately, so they decided to take matters into their own hands.
So the strike happened right when Mickey lost his bar?
Yeah. And then, the same year. And then 15 years later is when this bust happened. So who knows how long they'd been doing it.
Yeah.
I think that there was just a spike that year. And that's how they figured it out.
Also, can you get in trouble for like getting food poisoning? Like giving somebody food poisoning at a restaurant, like normally?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, like the health department, yeah. If they can do an investigation and figure out it was you, it's pretty hard to pinpoint that it's you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think if you get I think it depends on the amount of complaints.
Yeah, if it's like one off person, like
no, they could have given themselves food poisoning by not cooking their chicken nuggets long enough. You never know.
I didn't know that. But surprisingly,
I think it depends on the number. That'd be a cool topic for the next episode. Like figure out how that works.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm like, I never
take a look into how they investigate.
Because I don't know. I'm like, oh, I got food poisoning. Like I carry on with my life, and then I had somebody like make a formal complaint that they thought they got food poisoning from my restaurant.
It happens a lot, yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck do you want me to do about it?
I would never make a formal complaint unless it was unless I was certain where I got it. Like I hadn't eaten in like 2 days and then I ate one place.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
But then it's probably my fault.
I'm sorry you're going to be sick for 24 hours. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, come give you a fucking sponge bath? Like, how can I help you? What do you want? Like coupon? Or like you want a gift card? Like also, how do you know it was me specifically? Like my restaurant? Like I can't help you. I'm like, okay, well, anyways, feel better. You have a great day. Goodbye. And I would just like leave. I'm like, all right, anyways, like then don't come back. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. All right, you want to tell your story? It's funny because my story mentioned Tabasco, and I really didn't even notice it until you told me about your story. I think it was just to make it kind of fancy, because he had to probably to mask the taste also.
So
I bet, what did he have? It was like sodium chloral or something. I bet that had a taste to it. But I bet the tartar was more of like
salty.
Like a cream de magnesium or
and
something.
Tabasco's strong, so you're like,
you mask every other flavor. Yeah. I assume that has to be
probably like a Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are those are my favorite. I know why. No. So this is from Reddit by Tifu. It is basically Should I say the title? I feel like the title just says everything. Probably, yeah. So the title is drinking an entire bottle of Louisiana hot sauce at a job interview in a failed attempt to be impressive.
At a job interview?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
This is something you would do because you lie in your job interviews.
I lied about my age.
Yeah, I know. I listened to our
income.
My friend Callie. She lives in New York now. She doesn't use social media, so I talked to her yesterday for the first time in a couple weeks, and the last time I had talked to her was when we were about to release the first episode, and I told her I was coming out with the podcast, and then like when I talked to her yesterday, I was like, oh my God, you haven't heard it yet probably because you don't have social media. She's like, no, send me a link. So
what does she do? Read?
Yeah, she's an actor in New York. She's just like very like, she has her own hobbies. But I re-listened to the first episode to like kind of hear what she's hearing. And yeah, I heard that story that you said. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot you lied in your first job interview.
Fuck yeah, I did. I needed a job. I was broke. I didn't give a shit. I was like, if I got money coming out, I'll lie through my teeth. So yeah, so drinking an entire bottle of Louisiana hot sauce at a job interview in a failed attempt to be impressive. I've probably done something like this. I have had a number of jobs. This is me starting the story. This is not me saying this up. This isn't me now.
Wait, should we pretend that this is you? Do you want to like have a voice and a character?
No, because there are plenty of things that I don't have to pretend about that I have done. I don't need to pretend. It's just I'm not Louisiana hot sauce.
That's true, but I think it'd be fun if you had like a voice.
Okay, not on the spot. I'm not acting. So, okay, cutscene. I have had a number of job interviews recently, and they went poorly and did not result in securing employment. Same. I started to think I need to do something during an interview to really stand out. Be impressive, unique, and highly memorable. Well,
this sounds like a dating profile.
Yeah. Could you imagine I go on a date and the dude starts drinking Louisiana hot sauce like at the table?
You just gave away the whole plot of your story.
It's literally, I said the title. It says it.
Oh.
He's okay. Anyways, back to the story. I thought it would be risky, but might work out. I came up with the following idea. After concluding the interview, after the handshakes, etc., when leaving the room, stop, turn around, and say, "There's one more thing you need to know about me." What the fuck? Then pull out a bottle of hot sauce, down the entire bottle, slam it onto the ground.
Like break it?
Yeah, and say, "I can handle the heat." Nod confidently, and then just leave the room. Boom.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Honestly, someone should go on like America's Got Talent and do this. I would vote for them.
He then goes on to say, "I imagine that they'd be really impressed and wowed by such a performance." Well, it didn't pan out like I thought it would. No shit. It was only a small bottle of hot sauce. Okay, not as dramatic. I figured it'd be no big deal to actually... I don't know. I don't have a picture. He said it was small. I figured it'd be no big deal to actually do it and should have tested it at home first. My God, this poor guy. What? But he didn't. Like, why? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, you were just like, I wonder if he's like, yeah, I love hot sauce. This guy just like randomly did this. Then he goes on to say, "I was nervous as a bitch ass." That's a really interesting
bitch ass.
Bitch. He was as nervous as a bitch ass. Bitch ass. I've never heard that before.
No.
I probably never heard it again. Hopefully. During the interview, but I was determined to follow through with the plan. So I started exactly as described above. I was leaving. I turned around, maybe not with as much swagger as I'd imagined in my head, and I declared, "There's one more thing you need to know about me." I pulled out the hot sauce bottle, almost dropped it, and started to open the bottle. In my head, it was all one quick, confident motion, like an electric Indiana Jones. But instead, I fumbled around and had a tough time getting it open.
Oh my God.
It felt like a nightmarish eternity, but was probably only about 20 seconds. Enough time for one of the interviewers to ask me what I was doing. Like, "Sir, what are you doing?" I didn't answer directly. Instead, after I got the bottle open, I repeated, "There's one more thing you need to know about me," but stuttering. Then I guzzled down the entire bottle of hot sauce. I instantly regretted it. My mouth and throat felt like lava and swirling around inside me. I immediately started to gag and loudly cough.
No.
I started in crying involuntarily. God, I feel like I've done this. He then goes on to say, tears hardcore streaming down my face. I was sweating like a terrible fool.
He calls himself really weird names.
Yeah. I'm like, who is this guy?
A bitch ass terrible fool.
I might be stealing that. He then says, I desperately tried to scream, I can handle the heat, but just kept coughing before I could get anything out. The interviewers were all standing up looking at me in horror and confusion. A few seconds before, I threw up all over the floor.
It just gets worse.
He's I knew it would happen, but I tried to hold it back. I couldn't. I threw up all over the floor. It hurt so much on the way out as it did on the way in, if not more so. The vomit felt like flaming barbed wire shredding its way through my neck. I should mention a disturbing amount of fiery mucus was also leaking out of my nose uncontrollably. I don't think I read all of this. What's with the throw up? I feel like this has become a trend. Next episode,
it's a gross episode.
We are not. We're canceling that. After I finished throwing, well, I guess in restaurants people do throw up quite a lot. He goes on to say, after I finished throwing up, I could not bear to look at the interviewers. I hoarsely mumbled an apology and started to stumble as quickly as possible out the door. I've never been more ashamed in my life.
If he would have cleaned up his mess, he might have still gotten the job.
He then went on to say, like, he really needed to. I didn't get the job. Like, okay, we knew.
No shit, Sherlock.
Also,
So ridiculous.
How I'm envisioning
it almost
this.
doesn't seem like it's real.
It probably is. How I'm envisioning this is like most hot sauce bottles, like it only comes out like a little bit at a time.
So he's just like sucking on it. I wonder if he ripped off like the
fun stopper, like, or he's just like sucking on it like a bottle,
like a baby.
Yeah.
Did he practice this also? Or did he
no,
just
he
assume?
said he should have.
Oh my God. I missed that part.
Also, like, if you can't handle hot sauce, why are you doing that?
If you're not confident that this is like your party trick that you do to impress like friends and peers, why on earth would this be something that would work in front of like in a high stress environment? Like,
no. Also, I've been interviewing people lately or recently, and
I would probably hire him.
Anybody ever fucking did this to me? First of all,
I would hire him because he'd work so hard because he'd be so embarrassed.
I'd be like the first thing you need to do.
He'd be like a dishwasher, but he would work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he would be doing, but probably would not be working for me. Also, I'd be like, you need to find a job soon and get insurance and go see a therapist now. I wonder how he's doing. I wonder how this person is doing in life.
If you heard this story and it sounds familiar, send your friend our way.
If you drank hot sauce in an interview and it sounds like it's your story, it probably is your story.
We're sorry we didn't ask you for permission.
Well, God. I don't. He didn't ask the interviewers for permission to do that. But
yeah, I mean, that should come with like a warning label.
Well, now I'm tempted.
And now for my next trick.
Now I'm tempted to do it myself.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, so Kenny and I, when she was living with me during COVID, we would watch My Strange Addiction.
Oh, yep.
I wouldn't say like
we didn't do all of the.
We didn't do all of the. But we would try
the feasible ones.
We would try some of the things.
Yeah, like we tried
eating brick.
Eating brick. It's only because you had an exposed brick wall, so it was right behind us. I think that's what started it.
It was. I turned around.
This guy's eating brick on the TV, and we both look at each other, and we look at the wall behind us. We're like, should we try?
It was gritty. It tasted like sand.
It was sand, yeah. I mean, I don't think we ate like the brick. I think we ate like the grout.
Yeah, I wasn't eating the brick. And then
that's bad for your teeth.
Air fresheners.
That's how I broke my tooth, because I was eating a brick.
Probably. And you're like, oh my God, how did I break my tooth?
No, then the other one was like eating air freshener, yes. Like spraying it. That could have killed us.
It was chemically. It's like aerosol.
There was one was it wipes?
We end up like the Eagles.
Oh my God.
Sorry. What? I don't know. The other ones we really didn't try because they were pretty far out there. Like someone was eating drywall.
Someone was eating couch cushions. We couldn't do that.
No, I'm not ruining my stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fun was? It was.
But maybe we should try chugging a bottle of hot sauce. Should we make a TikTok account just us trying addictions? We end up with 7 strange addictions on accident.
I have really bad acid reflux, so I don't foresee this going well.
Oh, hell no.
Also, I'm imagining
if it didn't hurt you then, it would hurt you later.
Yeah, and that's not. I
don't want to be around for that.
I don't think I will even make it to be around for that. I think I would die.
Probably.
But yeah. I replace alcohol with just drinking bottles of hot sauce.
God. Oh my God. All right, well, I don't know. I don't have anything else for this episode.
No game?
No, I mean, I have one, but I think I'm going to save it for every week. I'm like,
she said that's enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's save it for when we have a guest. I don't have a game.
Yeah. Okay, I understand that. I respect it.
All right. I think it's a good time. We're going to try to start cutting episodes down a little bit more and maybe doing 2 parts. So you guys don't have to listen to us talk for an hour and a half every time.
I couldn't imagine listening to myself.
Let's test it out and see how this shorter one does.
Cheers. Yeah, I'm down with that.
All right. Cheers in Greek is yama. So yamos, baby.
What's your shot or drink of choice?
I'm going to do just a straight shot of whiskey.
Not like
in honor of Tom from Airliner from the last episode.
Not like Screwball or anything?
Nope. Jim Beam.
Ooh. God. This sounds horrible.
What's yours?
Red Bull. Anything with Red Bull.
Just energy drink.
That's all I drink now. I mean, if I'm in a social setting, I love a fucking... Well, yeah, I mean, that's a replacement. Like, I have to stay stimulated somehow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I want to immediately go home and lay in bed. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do an energy drink. Whatever.
All right.
But also, but not sugar-free, because I found out how bad sugar-free stuff is for you.
Oh, Grace told you?
Oh, yeah, she sure did.
God, don't believe her.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you guys so much. Have a fun Industry Sunday. We will talk to you next week.
Cheers, you guys. Happy
Cheers.
Industry Sunday.
If anybody has any story ideas, please send them my way.
All of them.
All of them.
Anything.
We want to talk about what you guys want to hear, so we need you guys to start sending it in. We have an Instagram. It's Industry Sunday Podcast. I'm working on making a TikTok and a YouTube. We filmed this episode, so if you want to watch us, go to our Instagram and perhaps YouTube. I'll post all the links in our Spotify and Apple Music pages.
You can do that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, then do that.
Yes, bitch. Yes, queen. All right. Thank you, guys. Happy Industry Sunday.
Thank you. Happy Industry Sunday.
Bye.